is probably something you're going to be seeing, and you're going to be like, hey, I just watched these other videos and you did no intro in them, and that is because I'm going to be doing this video. And in this video that you're watching right now, if you're watching the long form version, I will be going through every single match that is fully official for WrestleMania 41, and I will be kind of picking which one is built up the best. Now, you might be noticing that there will be no Io Sky versus Bianca Belair because Rhea Ripley and Io have a match on Raw next week, so I didn't add that one, but every other match, I have it on here. So I'm going to be posting little clips of it. I'm going to be posting every clip that I have of it. So let's jump right into it. First match we got is Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. This is a very great built-up match. We know that it's kind of all started a long time ago, whenever Kevin kind of hit Randy, and then we saw Randy hit him back, and then it turned into Saturday Night's Main Event, and the Crown Jewel, where they didn't even get to have a match, where they just attacked each other. But one of the main parts where it really spiced up was whenever Randy had this promo like 4 weeks ago, and he said, I'm going to make his face so unrecognizable that his closest family won't be able to recognize him. Obviously, that's a huge promo and a huge thing to say if you're going to lose. So, obviously, I ain't going to do my predictions now, but I might have the Viper. Y'all don't know. But then we see this on SmackDown, and we get Randy kind of looking like a heel Randy. We see heel Orton. 2009 Randy. Obviously not to that extent. 2009 Randy was dangerous. But this obviously isn't 2009 Randy Orton, but it is very dangerous Randy Orton. And then we see Kevin Owens on SmackDown say, let's win the tag titles at WrestleMania. So now Kevin's trying to back off and say, trying to plead and trying to say, hey, let's settle this and let's go after the tag titles. But Randy isn't after that. Randy wants blood. Randy got dropped on his head by Kevin Owens, and now he wants vengeance, and now Kevin wants to back off. I don't think Randy's taking that. So obviously this match at Mania is going to be huge. I'm super excited for it, and let's just take a moment to admire this poster. I mean, just look at that. We have like the little Viper stuff, and then we have Kevin Owens logos and stuff like that. I love the little card stuff. That looks awesome. But man, this is definitely a greatly built up match, but I am going to say this is not the one that is the best built up. If you want to go see the rest, go to the other clips, but if you're here for the long form video, we're going to get right into the next one. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in a triple threat match. Absolutely awesome. As we know, this all started back and all aged back to the Royal Rumble, where CM Punk eliminated Rollins and Roman, and then Logan Paul eliminated CM Punk, and then we saw this epic moment outside of the ring where Roman Reigns got put on the shelf for a couple of weeks after Seth Rollins curb stomped him and stood on his head. But then we saw Rollins, and everybody went back and forth. We even saw Roman get curb stomped onto the stairs at one point after that. I mean, just absolutely crazy. But then this rivalry takes a little rest. Seth Rollins and CM Punk get a huge rivalry going. They battle inside of the crowd, but then we get the steel cage match. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw, and they had an awesome match. We saw Triple H even have to bleep some stuff and blur the screen because it was such a, not gruesome, but a very, I'd say dangerous and very awesome match, and it was to the point where they had to use some profanity. But then we saw the return of the OTC, or your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, returning and pulling Seth Rollins out of the steel cage and letting Rollins win, but then hitting him with a Superman punch and a spear outside of the ring, which is devastating. Then we see him go into the ring, or him look over at the ring, and Paul Heyman is with CM Punk. And that is a huge part of this rivalry also, as maybe Roman Reigns could be walking out of WrestleMania with no wise man. After 4 years of him having a wise man and him returning at SummerSlam 2020 with the help of Paul Heyman, and then him winning at Payback 2020 and going on to hold that title for 4 years until WrestleMania 40. Huge moment. But then we see the turn on Roman Reigns from Paul Heyman, and he's sitting with CM Punk. And I guess he's like asking him if he's okay. But then this leads up to this Friday on SmackDown. We see these three brawling it out. And then in this promo, we also see Rollins tell Roman and them kind of agreeing that, hey, you wouldn't be here if you didn't have me, and you wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't have you. And CM Punk said, CM Punk had an iconic line. He said, this isn't a favor but thank you for delivering your tribal chief on a golden platter tonight. That's the huge moment. But then after this big old brawl, we see Roman Reigns and CM Punk point at the WrestleMania sign. And that's whenever we know we're going to get this match at Mania, and that's whenever they made it official later in the week, and that is just an awesome moment. So, now we get on to the next rivalry. That is Jey Uso and Gunther, a rivalry that has been overlooked ever since it started, and everybody thinks it is so overrated and that it should not even get the respect of being in the main event of night one of WrestleMania. But that's not what I think. We know this dates back all the way to the Royal Rumble, like 2 months ago, whenever Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble, shocks the world by eliminating John Cena, winning the Royal Rumble whenever everybody thought in the world that John Cena was going to win. I remember standing in my living room and looking at the TV and being in true defeat, being a Jey Uso fan and thinking that it was over for him, and then seeing him win the Rumble with just true happiness in his eyes, and it was just an awesome moment. But then we see the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, or after the Royal Rumble, when we see Gunther choke out Jey. And well, as we know now, he did that 2 weeks in a row. And then we get to last night, which as you all be seeing this on a Wednesday, but on Monday Night Raw, we see A-Town Down Under, the rivalry between these three right here. A-Town Down Under attacking Jey Uso every week for the past 3 weeks. And then we finally see Jey Uso be fed up and finally have a tag team match with him. And we knew that was Jimmy Uso. We know that Jimmy tagged with Jey in this match. And as we see here, the Usos are back together again. An awesome moment. But then after the match, we see Gunther knock Jimmy off the side of the ring. Then we see him go to attack Jey, but they stare each other down. And that is whenever, after that little attack, Jimmy meets up with Jey backstage and says, I don't want this Jey at WrestleMania. I want the right-hand man Jey at WrestleMania. I want the Jey who won the Royal Rumble. I want main event Jey Uso. I don't want this Jey. This Jey does not even know what he's doing. This Jey cannot defeat Gunther. And as Jey said on the Raw breakdown on the WWE YouTube channel, he said that Jimmy is the only person in the world that could give him that advice, and nobody else could give him that advice, because Jimmy's the only person who knows what Jey goes through. And then we see this: Jimmy confronts Gunther, slaps him in the face, and that's how we get to this next week: Jimmy versus Gunther live next week on Monday Night Raw, and that is. They're heating up the rivalry, slowly but surely. And as many people were saying that were doubting this feud, they said if they can just get Jimmy to interfere with Gunther and get this rivalry spicing up, we can have a real problem in this little feud. And we can really make it spiced up, and that's what they're doing. So, the haters are going to hate, for sure. But I don't care what they say, this rivalry is heating up. And if you stuck around for the last one, you'll see who I pick in the end. But, yeah, this rivalry is definitely heating up also. Next up, we have Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, 1v1. And this all dates back to the Royal Rumble also, where we get Charlotte Flair entering at number 27 and ultimately winning the Royal Rumble, where we find out that she will go on to face the champion of her choosing, whether that is any champion. But we know that she picked Tiffany Stratton, and she attacks Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown, which leads to this promo right here, with Tiffany kind of pouring her heart out to Charlotte, saying that she looked up to her, and that she would always wanted the opportunity to face Charlotte in the ring, but she never got to. And now that came all down to Charlotte picking Tiffany to face at WrestleMania, and then we see this on SmackDown. We see Tiffany go after Charlotte, and we see them go back and forth for a good long time. And then we see this on SmackDown. We see Tiffany and Charlotte having like their little virtual moment, and Tiffany says at the end of the little segment, she says, and everybody runs on Tiffy time. So that's kind of shutting down the stuff, and everybody knows, and everybody thinks in their mind that Charlotte Flair gets whatever she wants. And that's why I think at WrestleMania that the fans are going to be proven wrong, and that we're going to get Tiffany defeating Charlotte at WrestleMania. That's just a little prediction for y'all if y'all made it this far. But I can't wait for this match. This is a very greatly built up match, and it's heating up by the day. But I do not think that it is the most built up. But that's when we get to the main event of WrestleMania Night 2, and that is John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Now, y'all know this rivalry is very heated up. This started at the Royal Rumble whenever John Cena got eliminated by Jey Uso and lasted the last two. He came down to the final two, and we know in the press conference of the Royal Rumble, Cena says that he will be in the Elimination Chamber. He said that he feels like after having loyal service to the company that he deserves to be in the chamber without having to qualify for it. And then we get to the chamber. We see Cena come down to the last two, put Punk in the STF, and absolutely finishing him. Punk goes to sleep. And then we see this at the end of the match. Cena turns heel on Cody Rhodes and joins forces with The Rock and Travis Scott. And then we come down to the 2 weeks ago in Monday Night Raw. Cody Rhodes and John Cena, face to face. And that's whenever we get the famous line, the lines that's going viral right now of John Cena absolutely destroying a kid. And that's what dates to this week on Monday Night Raw. Cody says, why wait till WrestleMania? Let's just do it now. And that's when we find out that John Cena just walks away. He acts like he's going to fight. He just walks away. And they're kind of playing the role of let's wait for them to grapple until WrestleMania. They're really making us wait for this, and I ain't mad at it at all. I'm excited to see what they're going to do at WrestleMania. But ultimately, I think the best part about all this is this heel turn. Obviously, this is one of the greatest, if not the greatest heel turn of all time. Obviously, people are stuck between Hulk Hogan and John Cena, but I think for sure John Cena's heel turn is going to be the greatest of all time, depending on what he does with this run. Knowing this farewell tour and hearing all the boos that he's going through right now, I think that there is no way he can turn back. But obviously, he'll hit a soft spot in the fans' heart, and he'll join forces back with the fans instead of The Rock. And I think that we will definitely get that heel turn back at a Saturday Night's Main Event or something like that. But his schedule does not go further than a Saturday Night's Main Event, so hopefully we can see John Cena further than Saturday Night's Main Event, which I know we will because this is his last WrestleMania. So hopefully we can have a great WrestleMania, but this feud is the best one. If you're watching the clip, you got lucky because this is the last one that we were going to review. And go back to the other clips and watch all the other ones because those were great also. But I'd say this one is the best one, but the runner-up is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Just a build-up. A 2-month build-up, and ultimately a build-up ever since Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins came into WWE. As we know on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk said that he brought Roman and Rollins into WWE and he will take them out at WrestleMania. So that's ultimately what we're going to see. But excited for WrestleMania. Hope y'all are too. But with that being said, I will see y'all boys in the next one. Deuces, deuces.